Hey, what's going on? In this video, we're going to talk about the hidden conspiracy against self-discipline. We're going to talk about 3 subtle ways in which society, modern culture, kind of undermines your sense of personal resolve and undermines your ability to attain and sustain willpower. So who am I? I'm Brian Ogilvy. I'd like to introduce myself just in case, it's your first video that you're watching from me. I'm the author of this book, How to Conquer Yourself. My finger's hiding the R. And in the book, early on, I talk about a concept called the subtle conspiracy against self-discipline. Very important concept. And I say on that in that section, there's a subtle conspiracy against self-discipline. And that means that the challenge to conquer yourself is further complicated by living in a culture antagonistic towards that aim. There's a subtle conspiracy against self-discipline because society itself is structured in ways that sabotage and impede your attempts to attain it. We can think of this as a conspiracy because the way in which it does so are both widespread and systematic, yet also subtle and obscure. So like it's hard to see, but it's also extremely pervasive. Like once you do see it, it's like, oh snap. And that's why I use the word conspiracy. So in this video, we're going to explore how this works. To me, there are 3 key ways, 3 main embodiments. A, the cultural bias towards entertainment. B, the cultural bias towards distraction. And C, the cultural bias towards surface level, superficial thinking. So in the same way a person can be biased in favor of an idea, or a game can be biased in favor of a particular outcome, our modern environment itself is biased in favor of these particular trends. And let's get straight into it. So by the culture of entertainment, what I mean is that media programming has turned us into a society more concerned with entertaining ourselves than we are with getting results. So examples of this include celebrity gossip, reality shows, professional wrestling, internet memes, and so on. The idea here is that we tend to value diversion and leisure rather than discipline and personal accomplishment. Very important idea to think about. Secondly, by the culture of distraction, what I mean is that there's a subtle way in which technology has turned us into a society in which the inability to focus, the inability to concentrate has become the norm. So you think about smartphone gadgetry, text messaging, social networks, the Skype calls coming in, the face chat, the FaceTime, Twitter, etc. We're basically eroding our ability to concentrate, and that's really what productivity requires. So we're conditioned, again, for attention deficit disorder and disorderliness rather than clarity and concentration. And lastly, the culture of superficiality. What I mean here is that consumerism, consumer culture, has turned us into a society that values experience in only shallow and artificial form. And this plays itself out in hundreds of different ways. It's different than the distraction stuff, because here what I mean is like we constantly snack instead of eating full meals. We download individual MP3s rather than listen to full albums, and we switch incessantly through like thousands of songs and only listen to the first 30 seconds. We read ebooks, and we have like thousands of ebooks on our book readers, our e-readers, but we only get through maybe like the first 2 chapters, if that. And we have thousands upon thousands of online friends with contrarily dearth, a complete lack of meaningful connections in the real world. This is what I mean by superficiality. It's very pervasive. And here what I mean is that we rush impatiently through things rather than process them completely, rather than finish them to get the full quote-unquote nutrition that an experience or a dynamic is meant to contain. So it can be learning, like in a program like this, a video training like this, or it can even be in our relationships. All right, so take some time to think about all of this and think about how you can inoculate yourself from these dynamics. For more on the entertainment culture, you can see Chris Hedges' the book Empire of Illusion. For more on technology, Find Your Focus Zone by Lucy Jo Palladino. And for more on superficiality, there's a video training program by Eben Pagan called Wake Up Productive. And all these books, all these videos, they're like good stuff. It's worth the time and effort to find them and check them out. So one more quote from the book. Ironically, whereas the American tradition once centered around an ethic of industriousness, it's now mutated into a culture of sloth and indulgence. So becoming privy to this trend, devising means to prevent its poisons from developing within you yourself, is as critical to building discipline in the digital age in today's world as any of the more personal internal dynamics involved, which are, ironically more obvious. So again, like think about how you can prevent and inoculate yourself from these trends, from these ideas, because it's a subtle conspiracy. It's structured in ways that oppose you and oppose your natural proclivity towards discipline and accomplishment. And here, when I say conspiracy, I only mean it in the allegorical sense. Like, don't blame society for your lack of self-control. Just become aware and take the power back by taking responsibility for it. And again, these are the three main dynamics. Like, is technology disturbing your peace of mind? Are you not getting enough sleep at night because people keep texting you? Are you wasting time and money with friends by shopping and going out? Like, is that time you can spend on a more fulfilling hobby or a major project? Maybe you can even get your friends together if they're really good peoples and discuss having like a constructive project that you work on when you hang out. Me and some friends and I, we did this together the other day, and it's turning out to be some pretty cool stuff. Also, lastly, as critical thinking, are there any other cultural bias you can think of on your own, like extra credit? I have here fear, because if you think about it, news media with its focus on crime and terrorism, the pharmaceutical and medical industries with their focus on illness and disease, even religious movements, I'd say, with their focus on hell and eternal damnation, they create this subtle, subconscious social climate of fear, because a person who's afraid and a person who's anxious is far easier to influence and control. All right, so just think about this and like let it marinate with you over the next week or so. Again, hit me up anytime. I have an email and a phone. Like, I swear, I'm a regular guy. Like, the feedback helps me a lot because I'm conceptual. So I tend to see things in principle. And the more understanding I have, the more feedback I get about how my concepts and ideas are being received and applied, the better the material will become and grow over time. So again, 2 free chapters of my book on the site, dotheknowledge.com, with more videos, more podcasts, and what have you. Again, remember, as Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the average mind of this country, taught to aim at low objects, eats upon itself. All right? So there's a subtle conspiracy against self-discipline, and keep this in mind. I hope it helps. Take care and have a great day.